Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. We discuss 6 questions in 9 minutes because leaders know how to be concise. Let's get started with our guest today. First question in a few sentences. Tell us who you are and what you do.
My name is David Wachs, and I'm the CEO and founder of a company called Handwrytten, which is all about scaling handwritten outreach.
Oh, fantastic. It's a great angle and a great approach. It's unique.
Yeah. We use robots to write out notes at scale. So if you need to send out one handwritten note, we do that. If you need to send out 10,000, we have enough robots that hold pens to do that too.
Wow, that's fantastic. Question number 2, what's the best thing about working with a team?
I think the free flow of ideas and getting new ideas that you wouldn't have otherwise heard about. And then also the shared energy. If you can get your team engaged and get them interested to feel their energy will really pump up your energy. Obviously, it can be hard to do that. And you could have the reverse where you could have, kind of like one bad apple can destroy a whole barrel. And you can have that too. So it kind of goes both ways. But yeah, really just feeling that energy from the team.
That's a great response. And that leads very well into the next question, which is more about engagement specifically. But other leaders have said that it can be a challenge to get team members engaged. What strategies or ideas do you have, or how would you respond to that?
I think really publicly praising, privately criticizing. So, we have weekly stand-ups with the entire company, and I try to make a point of highlighting a different person each week and providing kind of a shout out to them to kind of put some wind in their sails. That kind of, increases their morale a little bit. And then also just going around and asking, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? So kind of one-on-one communication. Also structuring your organization so it's relatively flat, reducing the amount of layers in between anybody at the bottom and anybody at the top, just so people don't feel like they're a number and lost in the woodwork.
Those are some great ideas. And I especially like how you solicit input from individuals. I think that is such an important part of innovation and creativity within a team, to just ask them, what do you think? And give them that opportunity to share ideas and input. That's fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. Question number 4, what other piece of advice do you have for leaders of teams?
Well, one of the big ones, and I really learned this one from 3M, which is setting aside 10 to 20% of your team's time to work on pet projects, because you never know what will come from those pet projects. In the case of 3M, it led to the sticky note. Somebody at 3M took their 10 to 20% of free time and they started making a glue that wasn't good for anything, and that peeled off right away. And now it's a multi-billion-dollar business for 3M. For Handwrytten, we haven't been so lucky yet. However, our employees have come up with innovative ways to manage our pen inventory. So we have a lot of problems with these robots. They write notes in pen. We have to have a lot of pens around to change the pens, that type of thing. And we have an employee that came up with an innovative pen holder that goes on the ends of the racks of the robots to make sure that the pens are at the ready all the time. We have other employees that have come up with fun, quirky card designs, because we have a whole department that all it does is generate new stationery and stuff like that. So you could write your cards on pre-designed stationery if you don't want to design your own. And then other people have come up with really cool social media campaigns and contests. We're about to launch, one of these employees just came up with this idea. It's a contest for getting your handwriting replicated by us. So, we've got like 24, 25 handwriting styles available to anybody to use, or people can choose their own, use their own. But we are always looking to add to our inventory of handwriting styles. So we're doing a Twitter, Facebook, social media contest where people can post their handwriting and enter to win. So we're really not enter to win. It's not a sweepstakes. We will choose a winner. So we're excited about that too. And that just came from people taking a little bit of their free time and spitballing.
Those are some great examples. I appreciate you sharing those, because we get a lot of feedback from other guests, all of it very good, but I always appreciate it when there are some specific examples that the guest can give on how exactly it looks to
Mhm.
open up the doors of innovation. And here's what came out of it. And this is what we got. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's great. Question number 5, what other successful leaders of teams would you like to recognize that have had a positive influence in your life?
Other leaders of teams. Well, I would have to say, at my first job out of college, I worked for a large consultant, well, not a large, a very driven consulting firm. At the time, it was called Diamond Cluster. It used to be called Diamond Technology Partners, and now it's part of KPMG, or actually PricewaterhouseCoopers. My apologies there. But my boss there on one project was a guy named Andy Carlson, and he just really made sure that everybody's input was taken. And I really learned from him there, where nobody was too young on the team or too inexperienced to add value. And he made all us young, upstarts feel like we were an important part of the organization. I really appreciate that. And if Andy Carlson is listening, thank you very much for having a very positive impact on me early on. But really, it's just soliciting feedback from everybody. Another one that comes to mind is later in life, I worked as a equity analyst at Credit Suisse First Boston, and they hired a new head of HR for the global organization, and they sent out this survey. It was like a survey in Microsoft PowerPoint, which I found strange, but it was a survey that everybody was supposed to take. And on page 3, it said, are you enjoying your job, or something to that effect, some very basic question. And there was just a big yes box and a big no box. And as soon as you tried to move your mouse over the no box would move around. So you couldn't actually put your mouse over the no box. And I really, this is a big company, CSFB, Credit Suisse First Boston. And I really appreciated that such a big company wasn't taking itself too seriously. And whoever, and I apologize, but I don't remember the name of the HR director at CSFB, but not taking yourself too seriously and having a little fun with the troops, I found to be valuable as well. And I've recreated that silly chase the no box around the screen for my teams in the past.
That is great. I love that story. Last question. Tell us about your first job.
My first job. So when I was in my very first job, I guess you could say, was when I was a little kid. I used to take my brother's red wagon out and sell candy out the back of it. But my first real job was, I was in high school and I was in the marching band. And as a fundraiser for the marching band, we were selling poinsettias around the holidays. And I took one of those poinsettias into a computer store. This is kind of before the days of Dell and all that stuff. And I sold the computer store owner a poinsettia, and I also got myself a job. So the next day I was building computers. I was a nerd growing up. So I was building computers and servicing them and programming them and installing whatever on them and doing that, and then shipping them off to his clientele. And it only took about 2 years where I thought, gee, I can do this on my own. And I started my first real company while in high school, doing the same thing, building computers for my neighborhood, growing up. So that was kind of the first deal.
So you started your entrepreneurial career very early then, in high school.
Yeah. And Macrologic Solutions was an LLC, and we had clients that followed us into college, and we stopped selling about 6 months, 8 months before college, because we didn't want to have to support anything when we were there. But it was me and another high school friend of mine. And just real quick story, we wanted to be taken seriously by our vendors. So I used to get on the phone with one of my wholesale part distributors and say my name was David Wachs, and I ran Macrologic Solutions, and I needed these parts. And he'd say, okay, sir, well, they'll be ready in a couple hours. I said, great. I'll send my delivery boy to go pick them up, or my runner to go pick them up. And then I get in the car and I go pick them up. And this happened for a year and a half or something. And then he finally put two and two together, and he realized I was the delivery boy. But yeah, it was a great experience.
I love that story. You've got some great stories. I really like them a lot. Well, David, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. How can people find you?
You can find me well, you can email me, David@Handwrytten. It's HANDWRYTTEN.com, David@Handwrytten.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. Just search David and Handwrytten, HANDWRYTTEN, or Twitter, David B as in boy, and then my last name, which is a little hard to spell, WACHS, Wachs, David B. Wachs on Twitter. So any of those ways. Handwrytten also has a Facebook page. You can like that. A lot of great videos on YouTube, on the Facebook Handwrytten YouTube channel. And yeah, feel free to get in touch. And if you want to use our service, Handwrytten, to write out handwritten notes for you or your company, sign up, use the discount code PODCAST, PODCAST, and you'll get $5 off, or really $5 in credit to use as you choose. So yeah, give us a try.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that offer. That's kind of you to do that. This is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, go to teamengagementpodcast.com, and you can download our Engagement Booster tip sheet, which has ideas on how to boost engagement from hiring all the way to the time when you have to part ways with the employee. Again, that's teamengagementpodcast.com. Thanks so much for joining us today, and have a great day.